Under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there has been made a renewed and deliberate emphasis on infrastructure as a central driver of national development. This emphasis is neither incidental nor rhetorical. It reflects a conscious recognition that no nation can rise above the quality, scale, and functionality of the systems it builds. To maintain an analytical balance and situate our assessment within its proper historical context, it is important to acknowledge that not all the projects currently underway originated with the Tinubu administration. A few were conceived or initiated by preceding government. Talking about continuity, I can say with authority that most of the projects today, 75% of our old projects initiated by previous administration, 25% initiated by the present government. In fact, the directive of Mr. President to us in FCT, you must continue with abandoned projects before you go into new projects. Today, we have invited Nigerians to come and witness the revolution in infrastructure building, where we are taking 31 days, not 3.5 days, 31 days to see what we are talking about, infrastructure revolution. These projects, 80% were awarded 2010, 2015, 2016, 2014, 2017, 2018, now to 2020, even at the eve of leaving office, projects were awarded. And it was the director of Mr. President, Minister. We can't allow you, as a Minister of State, to award new projects without at least showing concern that abandoned projects must be completed. I'm happy to say that it is our culture, not because Mr. A was in charge when these projects were awarded. Therefore, it is no longer convenient. No. Projects awarded after government is a continuum. Government comes, government go. So it does not mean that you must award. It's only the ones you have awarded. That's the only one you mentioned is completed. All projects awarded by previous governments are the ones who are completed today. We don't care what you will say that you started, who finished it, who completed. That's what matters. You don't clap. Whether you clap, you don't clap. When you go to Abuja, you will miss your road. So when you come and you ask the taxi man, where are we going to? Then you will not begin to smile. The Honorable Minister said it when he came for the convocation lecture. So bear it in mind that I assure you, you will miss your road in Abuja. Now, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, these initiatives have been infused with the immediate consequences have been complex and in some cases painful. The policy has expanded fiscal space for some national governments and redirected national resources towards critical sectors, including infrastructure. It's a reminder that transformative leadership often requires the courage to choose long-term stability over short-term comfort. Previous governments have acknowledged that the canker worm, that the cancer eating this country, and that cancer is the subsidy. You have acknowledged, you know that is a problem. Okay. Yet, you have no courage to take a decision. Yet, decision taking may be painful. But as a leader, What makes you is to have that courage to be able to take decisions. Now, decisions that in the short time may be painful, but at the long run will be very helpful.
Yes.
Today, no state talks about going to banks to borrow money. Banks are now looking for states. Before, when we were in government, we go to banks, kneel down for them. Please, give me social amount of money. Start collecting social money from our IGR every month.
Right.
Sometimes we'll go, the manager will follow through the back door and run away. A whole governor will be waiting in the office of the manager. Today, because of the removal of oil subsidy,
Yes.
some national states are now getting more funds. No state is talking about borrowing again. Have you had any state crying of borrowing? No. No state is talking about zero allocation.
Okay.
No local government is talking about zero allocation. It is because of the
Wow.
courage of a leadership to take a decision everybody has run away from.
It's serious.
Nobody wants to talk about it. If I talk about oil subsidy, the cabal will come after me. But the day he was sworn in office, he said, yes, I know that the cabal, I know there are people who are benefiting, but as a president, having taken oath to serve this country, I have the courage, I have the political will to take this decision. That day, 29th of May, 2023, Mr. President said, bye-bye to oil subsidy. You don't look like. You have seen here, your vice chancellor has said, look at the kind of support they are getting. It was not there before. Today, universities are getting more funds, unlike before. They have partners. They are supporting. If this decision was not taken, it would have been very difficult. Very difficult. So I'm not saying, I mean, most of you who are here, you may not be happy. Having lost the election, I don't expect you to be happy. But the truth remains, for the greater interest of the people, who must say the truth. That decision taken by Mr. President, whose predecessors never near there to take that kind of decision, we must encourage him. That's what leadership is all about. I will feel bad if we have spent this hour and we won't go home with what leadership needs: courage. Those things that people say will not happen. In Abuja, when I came into Abuja, they said this is not River State, this is not Port Harcourt. I will do those things people are running away from doing. And I did it. And I stood firm. And I said heaven will not fall, rather than space in heaven. That's his leadership. It's leadership. Courageous. Being courageous to take decisions that people run away from. They will kill me. Who will kill you? Who knows when you will die? Oh, they will abuse in the social media. Is it therefore that will be abused? Is it ghosts they will abuse? It is you they will abuse. That's what leadership is all about. Leadership is not about praises. It's not about praises. When I was governor here, I wanted contracts of flyover. People were criticizing. Yes, it's your flyover we eat. When I left office, my brother, Lieutenant said, getting to development infrastructure. Without infrastructure, there will be no development. Without infrastructure in this university, forget about rating this university. Look at infrastructure. Where do you study convocation before? Yes, yes. So it's elementary. Look at infrastructure and see where you were before. So leadership, leadership. We must thank Mr. President for taking that bold step in making sure that canker one, that cancer is no longer a problem for us. Let me also say this. We have been talking about local government being autonomous. How states do not allow local governments to breathe. It takes leadership, courage for a president of a country where 85% of members of his party are governors of states have been accused of strangulating local government. This is a president who said, listen, we can't continue this way, irrespective of the fact that, yes, some people will say, don't do it. You know, you look for a second time. Don't do it. Allow it after a second tenor. And when you have won, you can come. He said, no, no. We can't continue to live that way. My Attorney General, go to court, go to Supreme Court. Let Supreme Court determine whether what is going on today is what is being envisaged in the Constitution. How many people can take that kind of decision, knowing fully well that the governors are very strong in their states? According to you, they can make, they can make, they can make a man. He said, no way. What is second tenor? First of all, let people know in this first tenor you mean wait for them. Today, I see local governments getting 1 point something billion naira. During our time, as chairman of local government, sometimes we go to zero allocation. Zero allocation. Why? When money comes to local government, it is being removed as sort, first and first charge to pay primary school teachers. At the end of the day, no 1 naira is left for development. Today, local governments, you see your colleague, Dr. What's that chairman's name about the apple? Dr. Gift Wall, see how he's smiling, moving like this, because money is made available. He can come to this institution. My colleagues, I want to do this for this university. Why not? Tinubu has made it possible. All the other government before, they are aware of this. They didn't do anything. That's what we're talking about. Leadership. Leadership is not for popularity. If you want to be popular, then don't talk about leadership. People don't like those who are courageous. People don't like those who are decisive, who can take decision. A lot of people here don't like me, I'm aware. But it makes me to work hard. I'm not here for beauty contest. I'm here to tell you the simple truth, and you must hear it. Whether you want to do something with it or not, hearing you must hear. That's why I told the Vice Chancellor, this lecture must not only be for those here who sees all the national television, so that those of them who don't want to hear, when they tune 10th, is there. They go to channel, it's there. They go to Arise, it's there. They go to IT, it's there. You go to ATBN, it's there. You go to the Central News, it's there. Whichever you must. You must. You must. You must hear the truth. Across the country, this commitment is most visibly expressed in the scale and ambition of ongoing infrastructure projects. In the realm of road development, flagship initiatives such as Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. When this came up, most people say, what is this? They want to eat money. What is this? This thing cannot be materialized. It will be an abandoned project. A project that's not less than 500 something kilometers. An ambitious project that will expand the economy. An infrastructure that will expand the economy. That will give opportunities for development. Nobody wants to think about it. The coastal road. What will be the benefit of the coastal road when it is completed? Look at the Sokoto Badagry Road. It is not merely transport corridors, but bold attempts to redraw Nigeria's economic geography, linking regions, stimulating trade, and fostering integration. Long delayed arteries like the Abuja Kaduna Zaria Kanu Road are not receiving renewed attention. Very important. Ambitious project, but projects that will open up the economy of this country. Badagry to Sokoto is not less than 400 kilometers. This is a very ambitious project that involves trillions of naira. But at the end of the day, we'll get benefit from it. It's not a project that is awarded today, tomorrow is completed. No. It's because that you be patient, that it will take a long time. By the end of the day, the benefit outweighs. Rail infrastructure is similarly undergoing revitalization. Efforts to improve the efficiency and security of existing corridors alongside the rehabilitation of the Port Harcourt Medieval Eastern Line signal a recognition of rail transport as indispensable to national mobility and economic transformation. The renewed push toward standard gauge expansion reflects an ambition to modernize Nigerian transport architecture in line with global standards. The administration has also prioritized energy transmission and sustainability through the presidential compressed natural gas initiative, designed to reduce transportation costs and dependence on petrol, while promoting cleaner energy alternatives. Similarly, the launch of the National Hydrogen Policy signals a forward-looking engagement with emerging global energy paradigms, positioning Nigeria within the evolving discourse on green industrialization. I'm happy that the Vice Chancellor, when he was talking about the 3,500 students of this university that benefited from the education loan fund. It's very, very essential. The establishment of the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, represents a landmark intervention aimed at democratizing access to higher education. By reducing financial barriers, the initiative aligns with a broader understanding of infrastructure, not only as fiscal structures, but as institutional mechanisms that empower human capital and expand opportunity. Taken together, these efforts and many others suggest a leadership approach that's increasingly attentive to the structural foundations of development. Yet, it must emphasize that the full impact of this initiative is still emerging. Infrastructural development is by its nature a long-term enterprise. Its true value is measured not in announcement, but in outcomes, not in contracts awarded, but in projects completed and sustained. What the present moment offers is a rare and defining possibility, a window in which purposeful leadership can begin, in earnest, to narrow the enduring gap between Nigeria's vast potential and its historically uneven performance. In this regard, the evidence increasingly suggests that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has demonstrated, beyond reasonable doubt, the courage to confront difficult choices, the capacity to mobilize national resources, and the will to pursue infrastructure as a structural instrument of transformation. The scale, direction, and momentum of current initiatives point to a leadership that understands that development is not accidental, but constructed deliberately, patiently, and persistently. If this trajectory is to be consolidated, deepened, and translated into lasting national outcomes, it requires not interruption in leadership, but continuity, not hesitation, but sustained commitment. It follows, therefore, that all who earnestly desire the progress and development of Nigeria must recognize the importance of supporting a leadership process that has shown both vision and resolve, so that the gains already made are not only preserved, but expanded, and the work of building a functional, modern, and integrated Nigeria is carried through to the future. Leadership and infrastructure in practice. Reflections on my own experience. At this stage in our discourse, it is necessary to move from the realm of theory to the domain of lived experience. For leadership, in the final analysis, is not validated by eloquence, but by evidence, not by the promise it makes, but by the transformation it delivers. Permit me, therefore, not in the spirit of self-adulation, but in the spirit of empirical illustration, to draw briefly from my own experience in public service, first as governor of Rivers State, and now as minister of Federal Capital Territory. Not to personalize this discourse, but to establish in concrete terms a simple, incontrovertible truth that infrastructural development in Nigeria is possible when leadership is decisive, disciplined, and determined. Let me begin with Rivers State. Here in Port Harcourt, and entire Rivers State, I do not need to persuade you with words. You are witnessing to the infrastructure revolution that I engineered. The evidence is all around us. It is described in the physical landscape of the state and the daily experience of our people. The transformation brought about during my time is visible, measurable, and enduring. You drive on the roads in a state once burdened by congestion and infrastructure decay. We undertook an aggressive program of urban renewal. We constructed multiple flyovers. In those days, we used to play with it. We say flyover one, flyover two, flyover three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Infrastructure, key to development. Most of you are inconvenienced. That's what it's supposed to be. At that time, you'll be inconvenienced. By the end of the day, you become happy with it. That's what development is all about. Beyond roads and bridges, deliberate investments were made in education and health care infrastructure. We committed ourselves to building modern primary, secondary, and tertiary schools equipped with modern facilities. In fact, the campus of Northern University, I don't know where it still exists, in Ahuda, in the Che, in the Eboho, or going in line. I don't know where it is now because I'm not there. I don't read what's done here again because I'm not focused. And I'm sure it is here I will ask the question whether they still exist. Healthcare will establish and upgraded medical facilities to ensure that access to quality care was not a privilege but a right. The Dr. Peter Lee Cancer Center, the Women and Children Hospital, left them. I don't know why they still function now. You will tell us. But we saying these are basic infrastructures that were put on ground in terms of healthcare. What defined that period is not simply the scale of what was built, but the governing philosophy that drove it. A firm belief that projects must not only be endlessly announced, they must be completed. That once a commitment is made, completion is mandatory, not optional. That governance must not be reduced to intention. It must culminate in delivery. That projects must be seen, touched, and used. And that political will, the courage to take decision, the discipline to prioritize, and the resolve to insist on standard is not an abstract victory, but a practical necessity. As many of you will recall, like the Deputy Vice Chancellor academic said, I came to be known as Mr. Project. Then the Vice President, who was the Vice President of the ruling party, and me being an opposition party, he couldn't hide it because of infrastructure. He said, Mr. Project, it's not a subsequent born not of rhetoric, but of relentless execution and of a period when River State became a veritable destination for leaders and dignitaries from across the country, drawn by the steady cadence of project commissioning that spoke more eloquently than words to a government committed to delivery. Today, I have the privilege of serving in the Federal Capital Territory and have approached my responsibility with the same clarity of purpose. Abuja was conceived as more than a city. It was designed as a symbol, an expression of national order, discipline, and aspiration. Yet over time, that vision became increasingly compromised by encroachments on the master plan, the proliferation of illegal structures, and a gradual erosion of planning standards. The city is undergoing a genuine infrastructural renewal marked by improved functionality, restored order, and renewed confidence in the capacity of leadership to deliver. If I speak with any authority on this subject, it's not because I've read about it, but because I have done it. I've seen what happens when leadership refuses to be charitable and chooses instead to be practical. When it moves from speeches to structures, from plans, the mentor project is not merely wasteful, it's a profound breach of public trust. True leadership recognizes that progress is a relay, not a solitary spirit. It must also be clearly understood that infrastructure is not a luxury to be pursued at convenience, but a necessity to be prioritized with urgency. It is the backbone of development, the foundation upon which productivity is enhanced, inequality reduced, and human dignity affirmed. Roads, schools, hospitals, power supply, and digital connectivity are not privileges and reflected on infrastructure as its most visible expression. We are brought inevitably back to a simple but profound truth. The destiny of any nation is shaped at the intersection of leadership and infrastructure. Where leadership is purposeful, infrastructure becomes transformative. Where leadership is weak, infrastructure becomes shambolic. What we have said in essence is that leadership is not an abstract idea detached from reality. It is the force that determines whether roads are built and maintained, whether power is generated and sustained, whether schools function and expand, and whether hospitals heal or merely symbolize neglect. Infrastructure on the other hand, but wisdom, not only ambition, but discipline, not only dreams, but the courage and resolve to turn those dreams into reality. May you be leaders who understand that infrastructure is not merely concrete and steel, but architecture of human dignity. May you be builders of systems that work, institutions that endure, and societies that flourish. And may your generation rise to close the gap between Nigeria's potential and its performance. Above all, may you remember that leadership is a trust, infrastructure is its evidence, and development is its ultimate testimony. Congratulations once again on your 36th convocation ceremony. May God bless Unique Uniport, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Need a round of applause once again, please. Please, can we sit down, please? Let's sit down, please. Thank you. Let's sit down, please. Thank you.